All right, it is 6:05, and I'm calling this meeting of the Environmental and Natural Resources Commission to order. First off is roll call. Commissioner Redmond.
Here.
Commissioner Bryan.
Here.
Commissioner Lates, myself is present. Commissioner Saunders Pierce.
Here.
And Commissioner Cryer and Commissioner Gill are currently absent. Moving on to approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting. Are there any additions to the agenda from staff?
No staff changes.
Thank you, staff. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Saunders Pierce. All those in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to the approval of minutes from our last meeting, November 12th, 2025. Are there any comments or changes from the commissioners?
No.
All right, I'll move to approve the minutes as written for November 12th, 2025.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Saunders Pierce. All those in favor?
Aye.
I abstain.
Abstained by Commissioner Redmond, who was absent. Moving on to new business, starting with the election of the chair and the vice chair for our commission.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So yearly, the Environmental and Natural Resources Commission does vote in a new chair and vice chair. That's written in the ordinance. And the chair positions, mainly the chair would run the meeting and attend and represent the commission at various events, or perhaps our city council meeting when there's items that are brought forward there. And then the vice chair would be the assistant to that role. So last year, the commission voted David Lates in as the chair and Nancy Edwards as the vice chair. So tonight, we are looking for a nomination for a new chair and a new vice chair, and then a motion to approve the chair and vice chair nominations. And I will point out that we do have two commissioners that are not here, as noted in the roll call, Commissioner Cryer and Gill, pardon me, yes. So just pointing that out in the event that they're nominated. So with that, you let me know how you want to handle this. If you want some Post-it notes to write your nominations, or if you just want to verbally nominate and vote. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you.
Thank you. I think verbal nominations make sense.
I'm good with verbal.
I'm fine with that. Thank you.
Well, I would like to nominate Commissioner Cryer for chair. He's been very active this year, and I think it'd be good for you to lead us.
You mean Commissioner Saunders Pierce?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Saunders Pierce.
I know you were looking right at me, so I had no doubt you were talking
Oh
about
my
me,
gosh,
but
it's
you're
been a long
thinking
day. I'm
Cryer.
sorry,
'cause
yes,
we were
Commissioner
just talking
Saunders
about-
Pierce. You've been very active this year, and so I nominate you as our chair.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Any discussion or conversation?
I would second that nomination. And we have just an addition to the roll call as Commissioner Cryer has joined us. Hello.
Thank you.
So with that nomination for Commissioner Saunders Pierce as new chair, I'll make a motion for, or is it an election vote for?
I'm sorry. A lot of things happening here. Perhaps we could bring Commissioner Cryer up to speed. So we are on the nomination of the chair and vice chair, and Commissioner Bryan has nominated Commissioner Saunders Pierce as chair, and Commissioner Lates has seconded that. And so now, I guess, did we hear from Commissioner Saunders Pierce on his acceptance?
Well, I will certainly gratefully appreciate that. Thank you. I will accept the nomination.
So with that, are there any other nominations?
Well,
I don't have any other.
so are we moving on to the vice chair?
Just kind of leaving it open, however you want to handle it, Mr. Chair.
We move unanimous consent? Sorry, I would move unanimous consent.
Yes.
That way, if that fails, the vote doesn't fail, then you have to just do a verbal, and then we do a count vote, otherwise unanimous.
I will move for unanimous consent for Commissioner Saunders Pierce as
And I'll second
Chair.
that. So now we're just voting on the unanimous consent.
Got it.
If it doesn't pass, it doesn't mean that, Robertson's is weird.
So we do a vote now on the unanimous consent. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Great, I really appreciate that, thank you. Looking forward to it. And,
Can I move this over you as the new chair?
oh, do I get the duties tonight?
Oh,
Or do we-
well,
or do we wait
maybe you want to wait until vice chair.
Yeah, wait for vice chair.
So at least finish this section, Mr. Chair, ex-chair.
Still seem to be.
I would like to nominate Commissioner Cryer as vice chair. I think from what we've seen last year, both of you have done a great job in helping to move forward on some volunteer activities and things and taking a good part in our commission. And I think you're deserving of the nomination.
I would also like to nominate Commissioner Cryer as vice chair. Having come aboard this commission at the same time as me, I've really enjoyed working alongside of you as well as the rest of the commission. But I think it would be a great fit. I hope you consider it.
Thank you for the nomination. I'd be happy to accept.
I'll move unanimous consent.
I'll second.
Motion for unanimous consent by Commissioner Redmond, seconded by Commissioner Bryan. All those in favor? Aye. So we have our new chair and vice chair. Congratulations.
Excellent. I would like to propose for the purposes of the evening that if you're willing to continue to facilitate the meeting for tonight, and then accordingly in the next meeting, I can take full duties as chair.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Moving on to the next order of new business, the 2026 work plan and environmental priorities.
Thank you. So tonight, we will take a look at our work plan, and these are items that we know that we have to review in the next year. And then environmental priorities are items that the commission finds are important issues to bring up to our city council for review. And this is written out in our Environmental and Natural Resources Commission ordinance, which talks about the commission establishing environmental priorities for the city in partnership with the city council and recommending changes or new policies that control, protect, preserve, and enhance the city's environmental assets. So we'll take a look at our work plan to begin. And in 2026, here are the items that I know we will be looking at. Of course, our annual residential trash and recycling contract does require that the contractors, Tennis Sanitation for recycling and Republic Services for trash hauling, come before the Environmental Commission as well as our City Council for an annual review, and that looks at the service levels that they've offered over the last year, how many carts are out there, the tonnage of recyclables and waste that is being generated. So it looks at all that type of service that's taking place. And then we look at a work plan, some items that we've noticed could use some improvements over the last year, and how we'll work with our contractors to make those improvements. So that'll be taking place this spring. And then the contracts with both Tennis and Republic Services end July 1st, 2027. And it is good practice to, start the process of creating an RFP for new contracts approximately 18 months prior. So we really should start on that real soon this spring. And I did discuss this with Ramsey County representatives, and they said that the Ramsey County Technical Assistance Program is available to the city. You may recall that they assisted us with the extension of the two contracts a year or two ago, and their new technical advisors, well, they're not new, but they have a new contract this year. It's both environment and infrastructure. So I'll start meeting with them, and we'll come back before the commission and mainly talk about, to begin, the types of goals we have for our solid waste program, and then drafting that request for proposal, which will eventually be released for new contracts. So we do know that we have to start working on that this year. And our climate mitigation plan, well, you will be happy to know that the climate mitigation plan is on track, and after kind of an extensive internal staff review, we're bringing it back before our climate mitigation plan team, and we have a meeting scheduled here in January for that, for the final meeting with the team. And then we'll bring it to the various commissions, and our commission here will review the draft plan in March 11th. And we have decided that we will invite public to that meeting, so we might get a few visitors that evening that might have some questions. We're also going to be doing some, public outreach with residents, businesses within the city via a survey and so forth. So look for more information on that. And then we'll have that final review, hopefully May 18th. And these are pretty set in stone, but could be tentative, or, could change. But at any rate, we will be looking at that climate mitigation plan and finalizing all that this year. And the Green Building Code, which our commission did some extensive work on, particularly reviewing some standards for electric vehicles and also recyclable materials. And what we have determined in our review of the climate mitigation plan and coming up with some of the action items is that the city would really like to hold off on making that amendment until the adoption of the new energy codes that are expected to be adopted here in 2027 for the state. Reason being mainly is because of the electric vehicle requirements that will be outlined in that new code. And so we'll touch on that later, but for now, we do think that's on hold until we can start on that again, I guess, end of next year. Or I should say, beginning of next year, excuse me. So let's move on to our environmental priorities, and,
Staff,
yes.
I'm sorry to
Please
interrupt. May I
interrupt.
ask a clarifying question on the previous slide? The final review for the climate mitigation plan, I think you had May 18th, which I believe is a Monday. So I was just trying to, with the climate mitigation plan, review the draft plan, review the final plan. Those are both intended to be through our commission. Is that correct? So I just wanted to clarify.
Thank you, May 13.
Okay. Great. Wonderful. I'm sorry to interrupt. Thank
No.
you for that.
You're scoring points as the new chair already. Sorry for that confusion. All right. Yes, I'm sorry. I don't mean to just ramble on, so please stop me when you have questions or comments or feedback. Okay, thank you. Diving into possibility of adding more to your work plan with some environmental priorities. It's always important to take a look at the City of Maplewood's policy guides, our environmental policies. So I included those in your staff report. And something that has been modified by our city council last year is the strategic priorities. And you'll note that there are now 3 main strategic priorities in, everything that the city looks at, including our budget, our staffing levels, all this. This will help guide us in those areas. And the one area that will pertain mainly to the Environmental Commission is still along the same lines of environmental stewardship, which was the previous year, but this is outlined as sustainability, and then there's 4 different focus areas within that, but it's building long-term resilience and organizational strength. So that's an important thing to key in on as we look at environmental priorities for the year. And then, of course, the Environmental Commission ordinance, which outlines that the commission will review existing and proposed environmental ordinances, policies, and projects, that the commission will support the Maplewood Nature Center and neighborhood preserves, with their education and outreach. And of course, this was written when we did have more actively involved nature center with environmental education and naturalists on staff, but nonetheless, we still have that outreach that we do, and of course all those neighborhood preserves. And then environmental education has always been a key component of this commission. So our comprehensive plan, which I guess really I should have included as a possibility of being in our work plan, but I haven't really gotten an update on when we're going to start working on that. But the 2040 comprehensive plan is what is in place now. We'll be working on a new comp plan here soon. But during that planning process, which was adopted in 2018, we did include sustainability and natural resources chapters, and those chapters outline, it mainly focused on energy and then also urban agriculture action items. And so I included those in your staff report, outlining some of the things that we've already accomplished. 2021 Climate Adaptation Plan, that was adopted by the city prior to the Climate Mitigation Plan. So once we have both plans in place, we'll have a full climate action plan. But the Climate Adaptation Plan does outline several strategies that the city can take in our policies and programs and so forth to adapt to changes we're seeing in our climate. And then, of course, the City of Maplewood has been a member of the Green Step Cities program since 2010. And that program does outline best management practices for sustainability. Maplewood has maintained Step 5, which is the highest award given for a city. So the Environmental Commission is named as the steering committee on that Green Step Cities program. So if there's best practices in there that you identified, that would be something we could look at. And then the Green Step Cities program has now expanded to work on climate actions, and they call it the Goldley program. And the city of Maplewood participated in that when it was first rolled out, and you have to choose 2 climate actions that you'll work on. And the city of Maplewood, as you may recall, chose the Climate Mitigation Plan and then the Green Building Code as the actions we would work on. And, well, we're still working on it. So, but that's still something that we are involved in. So I just thought I'd help guide the conversation. So for this year, of course, we do have all those work plan items, including the trash and recycling RFP and the climate mitigation plan review. But that climate mitigation plan, I think, will really help guide us in policies that we want to promote and review. And so that could be the guide that we need to kind of move us forward with some sort of environmental priority. And then continuing outreach and education. The Waterfest event, which is a good opportunity for this commission to get involved. This year, it's Saturday, May 31st, so we could have a booth there along with the Friends of Maplewood Nature, which we have done over the last few years. And then I don't have the exact dates, but I'm sure we'll have the Celebrate Summer events. And last year, they were held in July, August, and September. And of course, those are throughout various parks, neighborhood parks, and it's a good opportunity for outreach. Last year, we focused on the city's Tree City USA program and our tree, overall program. And then, of course, there's a lot of opportunities to tour things, so if you have ideas on that. And then presentations. We will, last year, we had hoped to have one of our engineers here to talk about stormwater management, so I'm working on scheduling their presentation here, hopefully maybe next month. So that's something that and then if you have any other ideas for organizations that you'd like to hear from, we could schedule that. And then finally, so the next steps here is basically whatever you come up with tonight, the staff will summarize and we can review that next month and then come up with some strategies for implementing all that. So with that, I will open it up to the commission. Thank you.
Thank you, staff. Any initial comments from?
Well, I think that was a very fantastic summary. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to the opportunity to look at the climate mitigation plan this spring. I would comment to my fellow commissioners. I think the 2 tours that we had this summer were interesting and useful. I do think, I think 2 seemed to be a little, we had to adjust a lot this summer, right? We had to cancel some meetings and adjust a lot this summer. And I kind of had a sense that, a little bit through the summer that we didn't really have as many opportunities to meet. So if we have 2 tours, I don't have anything off the top of my head to suggest as a tour location, but, it might be helpful to try and spread them out a little bit. I think they both ended up in the summer for whatever reason. And they were both very nice evenings, and I loved the picture that staff had on there on the previous slide. That was at Capital Region Watershed District. So my point there on the tours is, I think 2 was good, but I think 2 in the summer ended up being it kind of congested our calendar a little bit, and we had to cancel a meeting, I think, and so it just seemed like, we kind of got out a little bit of out of a rhythm, if you will, with our regular program. But I did enjoy the opportunity to visit both locations. The new recycling facility, as well as the Watershed District office. But again, I don't have anything specific to suggest as far as a tour for 2026. I'll certainly think about that. I am glad that the program for the stormwater management review, or the item, is going to be moved forward in 2026. I was curious to learn more about that. The other thing I would say, and this is just a minor observation, but with Waterfest, I think what Commissioner Cryer and I observed is we need to have one of those spinning wheels to get people to the area. I thought it was a great event, but in all honesty, the one question that I had, this is a little bit for staff too, but can you remind me the role of the individual that was assisting us in the, they were working as a
I think
intern or sponsored through some sponsored program. I can't remember the name of the individual that was helping us with that event, but
Yes, Jaylee, who was
yeah,
part of the Climate Corps,
Climate Corps.
so an AmeriCorps member.
Right. And so are those opportunities that the commission can support, as, because I believe that role is over for that person? Are those things that we can consider helping to support for the city, getting, whether it's a, Climate Corps or some other staff person, if that's beneficial.
I will say that the Climate Corps disbanded due to lack of funding. We might have the opportunity for a Green Corps member, which is similar, but mainly funded by the state. But as far as assisting in any way, I'm not sure.
Right, yeah, I don't know if resolutions of support are helpful for, an application or something to that effect. So,
Mainly, my suggestion would be perhaps, if you're talking about getting additional staff to help out, during the climate mitigation plan, we might, we'll come up with some implementation strategies. One being taking a look at city budgets to recommend some climate actions that can take place. And last year, the city council, in their budgeting, they did authorize a certain amount of funding for a climate action. So our commission will have some feedback on what that climate action will be this year. So that's something, maybe if there's no federal or state funding, that perhaps there could be some funding for, some local funding for a sustainability intern.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Excellent.
that's a way that you could support that. We do not have any proposals right now. We don't have any applicants or intent to have any interns. However, I will note that I did just learn as part of the Gold Leaf program, they were offering an intern through the U of M. It would be mainly virtual internship. So I'll look into that more closely and keep you posted on that. That's a good,
Great.
thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, and weren't there a group of students active at Century College that had provided support in some ways? Wasn't there a outfit out there?
Maplewood has been working with the biology students with Century College for many years. Initially, they worked with the naturalist and our natural resource coordinator on service projects throughout the year. So doing like plantings and rainwater gardens. And now we have a new natural resource coordinator, and she's carrying that on with the Century College students. So they do maybe 5 or 6 service projects, which focus mainly on natural resources.
Okay.
So those have been really beneficial for both the students and the city. I mean, they're learning, and we're getting all that free labor. So I'll let you know when those service projects are, and if you're available, stop on by and visit or help out, because they're a fun group of young adults.
One item I'll mention, just to echo your comments, staff, on the climate mitigation plan being potentially a guiding document for giving us some ideas of additional items for the work plan later this year. I think the meeting in March will be helpful for maybe setting some more additional priorities in the work plan, as well as potentially a theme for the education and outreach that would be most relevant for Waterfest and any other opportunities we have. I recall from the work that was done last year when I was part of the group that was reviewing and working through the mitigation plan, that there's a number of items that will, or at least goals and items that will likely involve the the entirety of Maplewood and citizens and the rest of the public. So getting as much engagement as you can from them will be, I think, an important thing. Other thoughts from the commission?
One question I had is, I think it would be helpful to get a calendar to know when these events are coming up, right? So we can better plan to be able to support them, like when Waterfest is, when are some of the other, I know we have that recycling day on that Saturday of Maplewood, right? The city of Maplewood's recycling. I know we helped support that last year. I think there's just, I think it would be kind of nice to be able to see all of the opportunities, and then we as a commission can kind of determine which we have resources maybe to support, and figuring out ways. And I know you mentioned that new naturalist, so maybe that's the person we can coordinate with for, I know it's Friends of Maple or Friends of the Nature Centers who we coordinate with on Waterfest Day, but maybe the naturalist would have some ideas on programming or something, to be able to present possibly.
Yeah, I would also, just to build off that, I did find the presentation that we had last year. I know we've talked about a presentation on the city's stormwater management, but I also found that presentation in the fall, and is it the recycling folks? I'm struggling to remember.
Biz Recycling.
Yeah, Biz
and,
Recycling. I found that very informative, and I would certainly favor another external group to come in and speak with us. Whether it's another government partner, like whether. Or in this case, some of the operators and vendors. I found that to be really useful. And, there's, I think, with respect to just having a deeper understanding of where are the opportunities, for instance, with businesses and how they can get small loans to improve their green footprint and things like that. I mean, it was things that I just really found very, very useful. Again, I don't have a specific suggestion to make, but I would say that was, I found that very informative, and would be interested in having more of that in our 2026 work plan.
One idea that came to mind, the Center for Energy and Environment. They do a lot of work for the state of Minnesota around specifically energy efficiency, and that might curtail pretty well into some of the priorities in the mitigation plan. So I don't know if that could be a possibility.
I think that would be a good fit. I can't remember if they were mentioned during that, the Biz Recycling program, but it's certainly a program I've heard a lot about, but I don't really have a depth of understanding. So I know I'd benefit from, inviting them in if that's suitable. I think you're right. I think it would align with a lot of the things that are in our climate mitigation plan and climate action plan. So that's a good suggestion.
Also, speaking of the stormwater, we toured Capital Region Watershed District main facility and heard from their director, but Ramsey Washington Metro Watershed District encompasses most of Maplewood, and perhaps they would be interested in coming and presenting too. They could talk about their stewardship programs that they have for businesses and homeowners to make improvements to stormwater management, especially if you're next to a wetland or a lake. So that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to think back to this time last year. I didn't have my packet, but I remember thinking in 2025, we had probably almost too much, and we had to dial back a little bit. I think this is a pretty good balance, for our work plan. But I do think, yeah, if we have the opportunity, whether it's Ramsey Washington or Center for Environment, or even both, I think, we can certainly accommodate having more than one group. They don't have to come on the same day, but that would be beneficial.
And I'm sure the Friends of Maplewood Nature would like an opportunity to discuss the synergies that may take place between the two organizations again. And then I'd also like to bring our new natural resource coordinator to a meeting, and you can meet her and she can fill you in on all the programs that she's working on.
Yeah, sounds great. Yeah, that's a good summary of ideas. Any additional thoughts?
The only other thing that I was curious about, and I can't remember exactly when this was, it was maybe, 6 or 8 weeks ago, but I think there was an individual that had reached out to like all the, local government environmental commissions and was soliciting interest in attending like, an event that they were sponsoring, and I think they were also promoting some training opportunities about salt and the impacts of salt. And I'm very keen on de-icing management and salt use management. Would that, like whether it's a presentation or some other kind of opportunity to learn more how as a community we can think about, road salt management, is that something that the commission would find interesting? I know there's a variety of tools and training out there, and I'm not really sure what the baseline is for this group. So if it's things that have already, been discussed or, been covered, I can certainly understand that.
I would have interest. I think it would be of interest
Yeah.
to the larger public too. so.
Absolutely.
And I think that might, it doesn't have a direct tie-in with the stormwater program, but I think there's at least some tangential tie-ins there with, all the de-icing materials end up going into our storm sewer, our receiving waters and things like that. So I'd say as far as a potential item for the 2026 work plan, I'd be interested in that.
Yeah, I could see relative to that, it's really kind of two scopes. One is roadway, and part of that is what are our current practices, So I know staff at Maplewood have been kind of working on that, but maybe they have certain practices that they could add to, so maybe there's even an opportunity for them to participate or attend and share what they're doing and see if there's new stuff. But maybe even the broader opportunity is what tools are there for us to share with residents and businesses who are salting their own things? And, what other mechanisms are there for them to use, and how can we get that word to them? Maybe Watershed District has some tools for us or something. That, I think, is definitely a wide open opportunity, for sure. So.
Yeah, well said, I agree. Mhm.
So all of this too, as you're looking at these concepts, can be opportunities for that education and outreach, when we go to the Waterfest or these summer events.
Yeah, that could be a great one for Waterfest as well.
Yeah.
Sean, is there, Maplewood does a great little newsletter quarterly. Not sure if there's interest on the commission, but if there were interest on the commission to sort of sponsor a section of the newsletter where we could pick 4 topics, salt or whatever. And maybe if there was interest, we could partner, whatever, people could grab one. If that were a potential for the commission, is there space on the newsletter or an opportunity to carve space out for the commission?
Well, I will point out that Maplewood had an actual environmental newsletter that it was kind of a quarterly. We called 4 Seasons. And that was fun to put together.
That's right.
Yeah.
I remember that was right when I started.
We had more staff to assist with that, with the naturalist lending a hand, and once in a while, environmental commissioners would help out. So on this new newsletter, I'm, always limited space, but nonetheless, we could come up with some sort of quarterly or twice a year kind of thing, environmental
Yeah,
tips.
yeah.
Yeah.
Something to think about, if, not weighing on staff time, because I know staff time's already got lots going on, but we could consider, might we want to try that as a commission to help sponsor some content?
Yeah. I would
Yeah.
I would be interested in that. That's a great idea.
I would too. I think that's a great idea.
Excellent. I think that gives us.
We also have, if you're ever interested in doing some sort of video communications, we do have, of course, a great communications team now with video capabilities, and so that's always an opportunity too. All right, so in summary, I think we have a lot on the work plan, and moving forward, I'll summarize all this for us. But looking at some stormwater management, including the review of sand, salt, in the winter and how that impacts our environment. Looking at, we do know that we're going to be looking at the climate mitigation plan and those action items, and there could be something in there that we could take on yet this year, knowing that we will have an opportunity to give some feedback on the sustainability budget that's out there. So I'll update you on that next month. I'll put together a calendar. I know that the summer events aren't scheduled yet, but I'll, hopefully by next month, I'll have all that detail. So we know when the outreach opportunities are. We'll look at, for sure, some speakers, perhaps from Ramsey, Washington Metro Watershed District. We know that the Friends of Maplewood would be interested in attending one of our meetings. And our natural resource coordinator, who is new. And then I didn't hear any ideas for tours, but I'll keep my eyes out and think on that, and it would kind of coincide with something that we're working on. And, limit it to maybe just one tour next year, although those are really fun. And then looking at the possibility of a section in the newsletter where our environmental commission can sponsor some environmental tips, or kind of update the residents and business owners on some of the things that we're working on. A good opportunity would be to spotlight the biz recycling and the WasteWise programs that are available to the businesses. So I will summarize all that for our next meeting, and as I indicated, next month I'm hoping to have our engineers here to give a presentation. And so we'll finalize the work plan, environmental priorities, and come up with an implementation plan on how we can do this and timing for it. And then all of this will be wrapped up and will be included in our annual review, our annual report, which kind of summarizes what we did last year and the work plan environmental priorities for this year, and goes before the council, and then so they know exactly what we're working on and can approve that and give us their blessing moving forward. So we'll look for more on this later. So thank you.
Thank you, staff. Thanks for the summary, for putting the notes together on that. Looking forward to that work. It's like next on the list, we do not have any visitors present, any commissioner presentations. Seeing none, on to staff presentations and oral reports.
I wanted to give you an update on an item that the commission reviewed. This went to the council on November 24th. It was the Church of Pentecost at 1701 Jarvis Avenue. They are proposing an addition to the front of the existing church and then an expansion of the parking area towards the back. And you may recall that that parking area was encroaching within the 75-foot wetland buffer, and they were required to get a variance from the city. And the commission reviewed that and made several recommendations for mitigation, including removal of the invasive species within the buffer area and planting of native plants. So the city council did approve that with all the conditions as outlined by the commission here. And then the city will be hosting a board and commission appreciation dinner, and this is scheduled for Thursday, February 5th. Oops, I have the wrong date. It's actually 2026, sorry. 5 to 6:30, and it will be held at the North Fire Station. And I have a note here from the coordinator who indicates, Colin, I believe you all received an invite from him. Colin is our management intern working with our city manager's office this year. And they outline that on behalf of the mayor, city council, and city manager, Michael Sable, we cordially invite you to the board and commission appreciation dinner. During the evening, we will share a meal, reflect on our accomplishments, and look ahead to 2026. And then I asked today if there was any follow-up, and he indicated that they're looking for confirmations by January 28th, and also if there are dietary restrictions, we would like to know that so we can ensure that we have appropriate meals for everyone. So I'll send you out a reminder email on that. All right, moving on to the last presentation here, which is Environmental and Natural Resources Commission calendar. Just want to highlight some of the things that I know that are coming up immediately here. So February, we'll take a look at the work plan and environmental priorities implementation. And I'm hoping to get one of our engineers here to talk about stormwater management. Maybe I can also get the Ramsey Washington Metro Watershed District here at the same time, because we'll see. And then in March, we have on the schedule the review of the draft climate mitigation plan. In April, I'd like to schedule the trash and recycling annual review, and then in May, we'll have that final climate mitigation plan review. So those are the items that I know we will be looking at over the next few months. Thank you.
Thank you, staff. That brings us to the end of the meeting, and I will move to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Bryan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned at 6:54 p.m.